it's a slum-free Mumbai and a slum-free India. That is what it means. Because you can't have a million people sitting squatting for a century, more than a century, I think now, and not have a house. And you can't have people, 500 people standing in the queue in the early morning for one toilet, right? And about 200 people standing for a tap water in the morning, right? And with that you can't have, in fact you can't even dream, leave alone envision, dream about slum-free Mumbai or slum-free India. So that is why I said this is the first big step towards a slum-free India, if you ask me. That's the first point. Should I wait for any other questions, or if So more than vision. See, our vision is same as the government's vision, right? I can't have a separate vision from the government. So the government's vision I would like to explain. And before that, I would like to just point out. I have about 2 minutes. 2 3 minutes. Yeah. So first 1 minute I'll take about what are the issues of Dharavi. Because you mentioned it is now 4 5 generations. Nothing has happened. The issues are very. Very common sense issues which Mr. Shah has actually pointed out, and much more so pronounced in Dharavi. One is the density issue. I was just mentioning in the morning to somebody. In fact, in our meeting, the morning Dharavi density is about 10 times the density of Mumbai. 10 times the density of Mumbai. That's one. And secondly, it is again typically very close to airports, so height restrictions. And third is huge number of factories. It's a bubbling economy, but a huge informal sector, and contributing to about 5 to 8,000 crores worth of the exports from the huge commercial sector. Technologically obsolete. Obsolescence is writ large on these units, but it's a huge, vibrant food industry, textile industry, and plastic industry, recycling. In fact, Dharavi is India's largest recycling machine, actually, if you happen to look at the data. So all these things, and also there is some issue of this lease properties. Some are VLTs, vacant land tenancies. So it's a mixture, it's a boiling cauldron. So I call it the brownest of the brownfield projects. This I have said many times. Some of you might be better heard of it. So brownest of the brownfield project. That's
right now. I think it's time that we are all honest about. Does Mumbai have the potential? Yes. Are investors keen on investing in Mumbai? The answer is yes. But are they doing it? The answer is no.
And I wanted to bring that out. So why they are not investing?
That's a great question. So, if you look at the foreign capital, which is primarily going into commercial real estate, first of all, commercial real estate is not happening in Mumbai. If you look at, when you compare it, it's not happening. So, that's a big segment of foreign capital, which unfortunately, Mumbai being, though it's the financial capital, is not attracting in real estate. Residential, if you look at it, you would not get private equity in residential real estate. Today what deals are happening in residential are all structured, are all high cost debt, these kind of deals. So we're not getting equity in the residential space. So I think it's time that we seriously, the government, the policy makers, the developers, we get along, sit down and talk to the investors. What is it that you want that would make you come to invest in Mumbai and again make Mumbai the financial capital in the true sense?
Sure. So, before Srinivas comes in, JLM recently came out with a report and there were 5 big takeaways, and one of them was transparency. So India, amongst top 140 countries, is really down the order on the transparency. Although we have improved in transparency, there is no doubt we have improved, but we have a long way to go.
See, transparency affects across sectors, including residential. So, but coming to that point, government has to sit together and analyze as to why commercial is coming up. But I would like to take back the answer as to why commercial is not coming here. It's very simple. That it is an engine has to be center of economic growth.
Because if you look at the last decade between now, you have a lot more developers coming into the ambit of the financing network, be it the AIS, be it the FPIs, be it the banks, be it the NBFCs, be it the agencies. Right? So I think that ambit with the level of corporate governance that has stepped in, either be it RERA or developers that learn from their mistakes, is only increasing right now. So more developers are actually coming into the fray, so there's more institutional capital being allocated towards them. Right? And if the market continues to grow in this particular manner, it seems to be it has the lead, you will see more developers getting financed. Now, effectively, each city probably might have, say, 30 more developers getting access to financing on an annual basis, depending on how corporate governance works. But in my view, if developers start being absolutely transparent, right, the chances of a financial institution actually going to them and saying that, okay, let's start to work together, is a lot higher. And a very simple example, right? You look at the last decade. You look at real estate developers that were listed, you go through any of the investor presentations, they were opaque, they were not transparent, and they were complicated. Right? It's hard to figure out when you look at their numbers as to what are they actually selling, what is real sales, what is real leasing, what are cancellations that are happening. Right? I'll give you an example of a situation where post-COVID, we had a lot of developers in 2020, 2021 actually stating cancellations. Right? A lot of cancellations happened in the annual report. Now that just means that a lot of sales that happened pre-COVID were getting cancelled. So effectively, if you have a higher level of transparency, you will have financial institutions wanting to do business with you. Right? Banks are here looking for more clients. Right? We on an annual basis are looking to do more clients than we did earlier. Right? Likewise, everyone else on the dial. So I think the opportunity is there. Right? If we see that, if we see more transparency, you will see more financing coming towards it.
And within 12 months, the entire structure was up. They were already doing finishing, right? Can we do that in India? Can we really focus ourselves on the execution? Can we actually ensure that we are delivering what we are committing to? That's a big challenge for all of us.
I think on the positive side, one opportunity that really excites us, and we have been, making our heads around it, is a strategy for small offices. Because of the way India story is, everyone is focusing on big ones. At least 1 million square feet kind of development. So I think that is an asset class which everyone is warming up to, both from an end use perspective and investment perspective. So I think that is a great opportunity. At least I would believe if you could do a city center small office kind of great opportunity. On the risk side, I genuinely feel I am worried on the scale of development, per project. So generally, people who are developing between, let's say, 3 to 5 lakh square feet projects on an average have suddenly jumped to probably 1 million to 1.5 million square feet, thinking and hoping the volumes continue. So if the volumes continue, if the volumes drop by any chance, that could mean an extended cycle, which also means working capital gaps. And second working capital gaps issue is around, specifically because we are sitting in Maharashtra, now with UDCR implementation, unlike Mumbai players, Pune players don't understand that what kind of cost they are going to pay over a period of time, every quarter, every half year and every year. So things like those, where industry or that city is not mature enough to appreciate or hasn't seen that kind of slowdown, could actually create some kind of stress. That is the risk that we see. Of course, till the time the volumes are there, the parties on.
Consumer court, and they are going into it, and they are saying that the advocates have advised, now you go there and we will procure an order which is different than the RERA Act. This itself is a perspective is different. No, it's not perspective. There's a conflict of interest. The ultimate objective is housing for all, under RERA. Yes. Under the consumer code, the consumer is the only focus. Yes. They are not concerned. If tomorrow they say pay back this consumer, but the project will fail, the consumer court is bound to give it in the favor of the consumer, because that is the main objective, sir. So I think that's the first thing. Number two, Mr. Anand Kumar mentioned about large projects pre-RERA which were registered and which have failed. The Ministry and Finance Ministry, thanks to our representation, created the Swami Fund of 25,000 crores. And that has been extremely successful, and it only gave into one bank, which is State Bank. In reality, we don't need any subsidy from anybody, but we need 1,25,000 crores as a start. And we have got 5 banks who are ready to put in 25,000 crores each. So we will have equivalent to Swami Fund 1,25,000 crores, which should sort out about 25 to 30% of the problems of Noida and the rest of the country. So I think the problem is that we don't have adequate resources in a manner which takes care of the end of the project. So Swami Fund was created where they say a prioritization that we need to do, sir, which we'll be able to do. So a recommendation is, please do not